Let's learn about while loops. For loops allow us to iterate through each element of a list. They're the most common form of iteration in Python. However, there is another kind of iteration called while loops. Notice how the syntax for a while loop is similar to that of an if statement. We have the word while, followed by a condition, ending with a colon. Then we can have any number of statements inside the body. Remember that this body, like a for loop or an if statement, is indented with 4 spaces. While statements are actually very similar to if statements. However, instead of executing once or none, they will execute repeatedly until the condition is false. Note that a loop won't end until the condition evaluates to false, even if the condition would be false during the loop body. The loop can't end until the end of the body. When a while loop is executed, the program follows a similar looping behavior as a for loop. Here we can see that the behavior in a while loop to count down from 10. The program tests the condition, and if it is true, then it moves through each statement in the body. Then it returns to the top and tests the condition again. If it is still true, it repeats the previous loop. Otherwise, it skips to the end of the while body. A tricky thing about while loops is that it is easy to loop forever by accident. Consider the code below. Because the variable countdown is only ever increasing, it will never reach 0, and the loop never ends. A major advantage of for loops instead of while loops is that they terminate based on a list, so they are very unlikely to loop forever. When possible, you should probably use a for loop instead of a while loop. As an example, consider the counting code shown before. Instead, that code can be efficiently replaced with a for loop that calls the range function, which consumes an integer and produces a list of integers counting up to that number. One of the very few cases where a while loop is more useful than a for loop is dealing with repeated user input. The read, evaluate, print loop that powers many command lines uses a while loop. The pattern shown here is one way to handle repeated user input. This repeatedly asks for words until the string exit is given, at which point it exits the loop.